So Mitch McConnell's just dying to keep this job, isn't he? It must be an amazing gig. I'm Jonathan Burton, and I'm assuming you've seen the so called proof of life photo they put out. This is a joke of a proof, although I don't have any proof that it's a joke. But I do believe it's most likely untrue. And when you're dealing with people like MAGA Republicans who constantly lie, it just saves time to assume they're lying from the start, don't you think? I'm telling you, they're playing political games, and that's why all this is so opaque. They just put up this silly photo of McConnell and his wife smiling, bigger than I've ever seen him smile. I mean, you have a guy here who literally hasn't smiled in decades. These are pictures. These are the pictures we typically get of him: dour, frowning, very, I don't know, like sad looking, depressed looking a little bit. And we're supposed to believe that after this serious illness that has taken him to the hospital for a month, that this event has brought him the happiest days of his life and put the biggest smile on his face that we've ever seen. That was my first reaction when I first saw the photo. I instantly felt like something was off. It's like, wait, something's not right here. And then after looking at it for a minute, I realized what was off, and it was that he had this big giant smile on his face, and we've never seen him smile like that. So it was just a little hard to believe. And I decided, now here's a cool thing I did yesterday. I decided to take matters into my own hands. So yesterday, in fact, I drove down to Kentucky and went to the senator's hospital. I was able to get in, and I called him from the lobby, the hospital lobby, and surprisingly, he took my call. I informed him that I'm a big YouTuber and that the Republicans really need to get with it when it comes to social media, get their social media game back on. And so I advised him it would be smart to talk to me. I told him I just wanted to have a little policy chat with him if that was okay. And to my delight, he said, sure, come on up. Now, I'd never met him in person before, so I wasn't sure what to expect, but he was just beaming from ear to ear, so happy to see me. What a great man. I mean, he really knows how to put people at ease. You can see kind of why he's gotten where he's gotten to because he's just so good with people. So here he was, he and Elaine were sitting there when I walked in, both very jovial, just kidding around with each other and acting like teenagers in love. They were really cute together, actually. I mean, it's so good, isn't it, to see a couple that's been together forever like that, still madly in love with each other, like it was day one. That's what I saw yesterday. And then here I am with them. The senator and I began talking. We talked for maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. We touched on some fairly complex issues: Ukraine, the midterms, Iran, the space shuttle. I don't know why he brought that up. Then he started having some kind of flashbacks. He brought up the telephone deregulation bill from the 80s, airline deregulation, and the Vietnam War. A lot of complex issues. We discussed it all. So he's very, very mentally alert, very on his toes there, but not on his real toes because he can't get up. But anyway, I felt like I should go at that point. I didn't want to take too much more of his time. I thought he'd been very generous already because he has all the Republicans calling him all day to get their 20-minute chats in too. So I didn't want to take his whole day. Anyway, look what happened after I left. After I left, I was kicking myself because if I just waited 5 more minutes, look who walked in: two kings, kings of pop, and a duke. I could have met them. Actually, looking at this photo, it's not quite clear which side of eternity Mitch is on in the photo. Is he on their side or is he on our side? I don't know. Anyway, there are a lot of things that are hard to tell from this photo, aren't there? Like whether he's conscious or not. All right, all kidding aside, I am actually making a serious point with that. And the point is, it's far too easy to manipulate photos in this day and age of AI. I did the one with me in it, which, by the way, doesn't look exactly like me. It looks a little weird, but it looks very similar. So it's kind of it's weird to look at it because it's like, yeah, that's me, and it's like, wait, no, it's not. Anyway, it's a weird feeling if you get it to do that with your face and add a body to it and everything. Anyway, but look at Mitch in each of these photos. He looks as real in these as he does in the one that they presented as proof of life. And I just went on to Google and asked it to manipulate that picture a few times. and he looks just as real there as he does in the one that they presented. I mean, if they were really serious, if they really wanted to prove that McConnell is alive and capable of resuming his duties, then why wouldn't he just call the governor on the phone? Isn't that what any responsible high office holder would do at this point? Is it really so far fetched for a senator to call a governor? That's how they used to do it back when America was great, right? And if they want to make America great again, then I'd suggest they start doing things the way we did back when it was great. Anyway, this obviously wasn't a sincere attempt to prove to the world that the senator is alive and well, because it proves absolutely nothing. So it wasn't even a sincere attempt to prove that he's alive or has the capacity to remain in office or ever come back to work. It did literally nothing. Well, almost nothing. And I say almost nothing because it did do one thing. It did the one thing they wanted it to do. And here's what I believe. I believe they did this just to buy a little more time. That's what I think this is all about. They're stalling for time. They're playing political games, and they're gonna make sure they save their own skins first. They're putting the charade. They're putting on the charade to stall for time. But why? Why are they stalling for time? We may eventually find out the exact reason why, or we may not. We may never know the exact reason. But whether we ever learn the exact reason or not, we know the general reason because it's always the same. Why do people stall for time? To give themselves an advantage, right? Or to get out of some kind of trouble. But usually to put themselves in a more advantageous position. So it's reasonable to conclude, I think, in this case, that whatever's wrong with McConnell, whether he's dead or alive, we literally don't know if he's dead or alive right now. I would bet maybe give 10% more odds to him being alive, at least alive, even if he's on some kind of life support. But it's probably his body's alive at this point. Anyway, one thing that's obvious and certain is that he's not able to come back to work. He can't perform his duties. We know that much with absolute certainty because if he could, he wouldn't be incommunicado and living in a hospital. And the fact that he's so incapacitated that he can't come back to work makes Republicans vulnerable to an unknown and uncontrollable future where Kentucky might hold a special election uh, to replace McConnell with an interim senator, or the governor may try to appoint a senator. If they hold a special election, there's a chance that Thomas Massie, who's now on the dark side of Trump, might run and he might win and be a real thorn in MAGA's side until January. Or, despite the legislature, the Kentucky legislature, having passed a law a few years ago that forbids the governor from appointing interim replacement senators, the governor may go ahead and do it anyway, because it turns out the Kentucky state constitution mandates that the governor appoint interim replacements for all unexpected vacancies like this one. So the law is actually in opposition to their constitution. So it's kind of up in the air. What I would recommend to Andy Beshear is, you put out your demand that he prove he's still alive and prove he's still, has the capacity to do the job. And he hasn't done it yet. So just call it. Say that game's up, time's up. I'm going to appoint someone now to take your place, or I'm going to hold a special election. Whatever you're going to do, just do it. And how funny if he decided to appoint someone and he appoints Thomas Massie. That would be pretty funny. Anyway, so they're stalling to give themselves time, I think, to come up with a strategic advantage. And this photo was sent out under the guise of giving us a view into McConnell's health, but it's in fact doing the exact opposite. It's blocking our view of what's going on with his health. It's the equivalent of throwing sand in our eyes to prevent us from seeing the fact that McConnell is completely incapacitated and can't do his job. I don't know. For me, we can only hope that this backfires on the Republicans in a most spectacular way. I hope it does. But that's basically what I think's going on. He's incapacitated. He can't go back to work. They're stalling for time. They do not want to let that news out yet. That's why they send this one still photo. They could have done a video call. And if they don't want to do one publicly with the public, maybe he doesn't look good, so he doesn't want to be seen on TV. He could have done a video call with the governor to prove he's alive, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And they're stalling for time, trying to figure out a way to cheat this election to give themselves an advantage. All right. That's what I believe is going on. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. There's a lot of different thoughts on this for sure. All right. That's it for me. I'm Jonathan Burton. Thanks for watching. Now go and do something nice for somebody. All right. Take care.